Recording start. Good morning for those just joining us, and welcome. Welcome to spring. Today is the first day of spring, March 26th. By way of announcements, I want to invite each of you to uplevel your health. And most of us know what it takes to be healthy and to lay a foundation of wellness, but the fact is, very few of us actually do it. So, what do we do with that gap between knowledge and practice? Well, we have put together a really simple, but I think powerful tool for upleveling your health and having fun and just being part of a movement. So let me just share with you uplevel21.com. So Chelsea Wood is one of the most amazing health coaches and fitness and wellness trainers I've ever met. She is now leading this cause and this movement. And the next challenge starts April 1st. So this is the perfect time. You've got 5 days, 13 hours to jump on board and uplevel your health. So basically it uses all of doTERRA's foundational wellness products, but there's also videos every single day. There's actions that you take every day, and it's really simple. This is not like go out and train for a marathon. This is like move your body, drink some water, like get some rest. Like it's really, and it habit stacks too. So it builds gradually. This is one of the simplest, most powerful ways that you can take control of your health and just get in the habit of success. So thank you, Chelsea, for helping us get this upgraded with all the new wellness products. And Chelsea is always adding great new videos. So there's a great little intro video here. Go hop on the Uplevel Challenge. Starts the first of every month, but I really recommend that you take the first step and get registered for the April challenge. Okay. So, all right. Awesome. Any questions about Uplevel 21? Go ahead and put those in the chat. But I'm super excited for everything that's there. You also get to do it as a team. And so there's you get that positive peer pressure from teamwork, right? So, good morning, Lindsay.
I'm so sorry. Wrong link. Wrong Zoom link.
No, we're just so grateful that you're here. And by the way, Lindsay came and hung out with us most of the week last week, and we had experienced doTERRA, but she also had an awesome mastermind with her top leaders, and it was amazing. Lindsay and her leadership just continue to blow me away. I'm so grateful for her vision and for her dedication to this cause and to her people. So, and we are blessed to be her people today. So thank you so much for, many of you saw Lindsay's presentation at Leadership. Many of you came and asked us, can we get a deeper training? We should have spent all of Leadership hearing from Lindsay, but so she was graciously offered to tell us more and give us a deeper dive. So Lindsay, Blue Diamond, Founder 2.0, so grateful that you're here with us. Take it away.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a wild 2 years. So fun. I actually feel like for the first time in my life, like I'm living in my strengths. I'm able to do exactly what God has called me to do, and that really is. I'm going to share a lot of that with you guys today, which I'm thankful for. I've done 2 trainings with doTERRA already, like for the field, and I think that those are going to be really helpful for you guys. I'm going to put them in the chat. One is on systems, and if you are not a systems person, which I know a lot of people are not, I will tell you that your success will rise and fall to the level of your system, and that is something. If you read Atomic Habits, you're going to see. And so one of the first things that we did is create an infrastructure. and scaffolding on our team. And the reason why is because what I was envisioning was that if you can put the scaffolding in place, then really all people need to do when they walk in is have conversations and learn how to invite. And really, if we can teach them how to have conversations and learn how to invite, I'm like, they can soar, right? But if they're left to figure out, like, how do I do a class, and what if I'm alone, and what if I don't have an upline? Like, you've got all these other things out there that I'm like, no, if you put the scaffolding in place, it doesn't matter if they have an upline. It doesn't matter if they have these other things. Like, we have, and so we've seen that. Like, I've had some people say, well, you guys are only successful because you're all coming from another company. I'm like, nope, that is not true. Actually, we've been really successful because of the systems that we put in place, because anybody who can walk on into our team's door can literally use all the scaffolding to get to wherever they want to go and however they want to do it. So I want to teach you some of those things today. But I also want to give you a couple of caveats. This is not a blueprint for what you have to do, okay? What I would encourage you to do is, we're going to go in the weeds, guys. I'm just going to tell you, I know some of you really like that. I don't do well. Like, if somebody came on and told me their whole system, I would like completely shut down, because I get overwhelmed very easily. So if you're like, I want all the details, I'm going to give you a lot of that today. If you're like, I get overwhelmed by details, I want you to like write down principles that you hear today. So like, you don't have to do it. We've tweaked things so much over the last 2 years. It's not about the exact thing, okay? It's not about my exact onboarding video. It's not about my exact system. It's that you need to have a system, right? And then, you should have some kind of an onboarding structure, right? So it's not like I need to do exactly what Lindsay does. It's like, no, I think more than anything, it's having something in place, anything that creates clarity and allows you to duplicate. The last thing that I'm gonna share is that you don't want to build this business alone. So if you right now are completely isolated and you're like, I don't have an upline, I don't have a downline, I'm going to do this all myself, what I would actually recommend is that you find 2 to 3 peers, and for the next 6 months, you guys work together and create systems that you can literally funnel people into. And you're going to hear, when we start to talk about my 2 different phases, you're going to see how we're funneling into the system, and we're letting systems take care of so much of like grunt work on some things. But if you know systems and you're constantly creating and recreating, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a lot, right? So if you can partner with 2 to 3 people where it's like, I'm not taking all of this on myself, I'll just tell you, you're more likely to go into momentum when you're partnering with people. It's hard to create momentum alone. When you start bringing in others, even if they're peers, or maybe you're working with a couple uplines or a couple of your own team members, like, it doesn't matter who you're working with, just work with people who want to grow. Honestly, work with people who want to learn. And if you're partnering with two or three of those, or 4 or 5, and you're like, we're going to commit for 6 months to putting some systems in place, that's amazing. That's what you want. Groups create momentum. And I often find, we taught about this last week, I taught this in my last business, is that we tend to like, we go to our upline for a lot because we want our upline to like have a lot of the answers, and we kind of expect them to. But that can sometimes put a lot of pressure on your upline. Like, I know I only have a certain amount of skill sets. And so when people are coming to me from my downline, needing me to be more than what I am, or know more, it ends up being a lot of pressure for me. And I also then feel like a bottleneck for growth for my people. So you have that upline connection, and then you have your team, right? And I find that most of us spend most of our time like trying to lead our team and trying to have a lifeline with our upline. But the power in this business is actually your sideline. It's who am I in the business with, and who wants to grow like I want to grow. And what it does, it completely unlocks all of these talents and skill sets that, like, I'm not required to lead, but I'm also not going to my upline to get, but I'm in partnership, and it's really beautiful. So I would just encourage you to really look at, who do I love in this business, who I've met over the years, or maybe who is a cross-line on my team, who I can get together after this call and start, maybe building a couple of things with, okay? So we'll start there. And Andy, if at any point there's something in the chat, I get really distracted, so I try not to look at the chat, but if there's something where you're like, hey, Lindsay, pause for a second and just interrupt me.
Got you. You go.
Okay. Okay. So the way that I tend to view the business is in 3 phases. It's exploration, it's onboarding, and then it's maintenance for growth, right? Which is like, what does my everyday look like after onboarding? And what does my business need to look like? So today we're actually going to tackle what I would say are the are the toughest too. And we're going to go, and there's a lot of details to those things, or a lot of things just to consider and think about. So most of the time people are like, just tell me your onboarding, Lindsay. Like, what's your onboarding? And I'm like, oh no, you don't talk about onboarding until you talk about exploration, because your onboarding is dependent on what happens in exploration. And so we want to back the track up and look at phase one. Now, so what is exploration? Exploration is phase one. It is literally anybody who says, I might want to do this maybe at some point. I'm like, they're in exploration. Or if they're like, maybe I'll do this some point in the future, or I might want to learn more, they're in exploration. Okay. The minute they open that door, they are in exploration. So what I love about the exploration stage is we give people permission to hang out there. I love that stage because it gives me the chance to share vision, opportunity. And what I find is, if you can meet them in exploration and let them be in exploration, they're much more, your onboarding is going to look really great. Okay. When we try to rush people through to onboarding and we haven't taken the time in exploration, things tend to fall apart. There's usually misalignment, misexpectations. You start to have ghosting. You have people who aren't really showing up and planning well for launches. Like it kind of all breaks down if you don't allow for exploration. I'm not going to lie, exploration is my very favorite part of this entire business. So, basically, the minute anybody says, yeah, maybe potentially in the future, like, or you can have people who are like, tell me how you do this, tell me what you're doing. Like, those are ideal, right? But most people fall in the category of like, I might want to do this at some point, or I might consider this at some point. So here's what we do. Here is some verbiage that I use. And by the way, this is being recorded today. I'm going to give you a lot of verbiage. Go back and listen to the recording, slow things down if you want to, but I want to make sure we get through enough, so you probably are going to want to rewatch the recording, okay? So the verbiage I like to use is, I love that you're considering this, and so no matter at what point you decide this could be right for you or not, I think it could be helpful for you to understand how our business model and comp plan work. And most people are like, oh yeah, that would make sense. Like, as long as I'm considering this for like 6 months down the road or 12 months down the road, like, yeah. And I always say, like, because if you see the business model and the comp plan and you're like, that's really not for me, it's great for you to know, like, hey, I'm taking this off the table. You guys, I put so much like confidence in our business model and comp plan. I'm like, I have full permission for them to be like, okay, yeah, because I know what we have and it is so good. Okay. So when they're like, okay, yeah, that would make sense for me to know that. So I'm like, the first thing I offer, I'm going to give you 4 priorities. I'm going to give you these things in priority order. The first thing I offer is a 3-way call. And our team does 3-way calls all the time. I think I average 3 to 5 a week, because these are people who have just expressed like, hey, maybe, I might want to get my product paid for, or if I can learn how to do that, that'd be awesome. Perfect. As you're considering that, it might be helpful for you to understand how the business model and the comp plan works to see how you can get your vitamins paid for. Would you be open to doing a 3-way call, and we can kind of walk through that? And then as you're exploring this, you can kind of decide this is going to be just information for you to be helpful in that exploration process, right? I hardly ever have anybody say no to that. They're like, yeah, because all I'm doing is helping them inform whatever decision they want to make at any point in the future, right? So priority number 1 is 3-way call. And again, if you guys listen to my talk at leadership, you know that whoever we have leading that 3-way call is high confidence in our business model and comp plan, high belief, right? You don't want to put somebody in front of a potential advocate who's like not happy in the business and or unsure of its ability to really lift people, right? So the people that we have leading those calls are some of my higher level leaders who like have belief. They know what this model can do for them. And so, so that's our priority number 1. If they can't do that, or if they can't get on a 3-way call, or they're like, no, that's if they resist that, then I'm like, no problem. Once a month, we have a learn more call. And this is kind of just structure, you guys, right? System. Once a month, we have a learn more call on our team. And on that call, you simply learn more. We share a little bit about what we do on our team to help people grow. We share a little bit on the comp plan and business model, and we record it. So you can actually come to that, or we can just send you the recording. What would you prefer? So we're basically saying this is a less of a commitment level now, right? And so this has us with a system. Our system is once a month, our team provides a learn more call. And the reason why we do that is because when we have these potential conversations, we have something to funnel people into. If you don't have that, Now, what do you do in that conversation when they're like, no, I don't want to do a three-way call? It's like, okay, what am I going to invite them to? Or what can I offer to them? The system allows you to literally funnel people into things or to offer. It's something on the calendar, right? So I think that is whatever that is, whatever, if you're doing an opportunity event once a month, we always do ours on Zoom because we want to create recordings so we can share the recordings, right? And so if they're like, no, I'm not really into that, usually by this time they picked one of those two. But if they're like, no, I'm not really into that, then we say, you know what? It might be helpful for you to attend one of our classes if they haven't already. And we have a weekly class on Zoom. And so we have a weekly class on Zoom that our different parts of our team take a week. So I'm not on all of those. Not any one advocate is on all of those. We have people who have taken points on each of those, and they do it once a month. But our classes, our Zoom classes, are foundational wellness. And we have those in place so that when we're having these conversations, we can funnel people in to those classes to learn how do we talk about the product. Also, at the end of the class, we have a 15-minute business overview. So do you see how we're like, because we have some of these systems in place, it makes conversations for our advocates easy because our advocates don't feel like they have to do any of the heavy lifting, right? So you can have a brand new advocate who, if she or he knows, I can invite to a three-way call, so I'm not an expert. I can invite to the Learn More, so I'm not an expert. And I can invite to a class, and I'm not an expert. It literally allows them to, all they need to do is have a conversation, open up the doors. The system now creates the security so that they can learn in the process, but they never have to be an expert. So that's what I love, in that process is those are your three priorities. So get them on a three-way call. I would say 85 to 90% of our people will be like, yeah, let's just do a three-way call so I can understand more. Number 2 is the Learn More, which we do once a month, and we have the recording. And number 3 is coming to a class, which we do weekly. And we have a 15-minute business overview at the end. Okay, so you might want to know what happens on that three-way call. I'm going to tell you. I love three-way calls. I use these literally to fuel my entire business, okay? And what I noticed last fall is, or maybe the end of last summer, is I was seeing a decrease in builder conversations on our team and a decrease in recruiting overall on our team. And so I put a poll in our team page. It was like, hey, what is preventing you from sharing the business in doTERRA? And there were 2 things that popped up. One was people did not really have the confidence yet to share what the business is. Like if somebody actually asked them a lot of questions about how the business works, they were like, I don't think I can do that. And number 2, they weren't earning enough income yet to feel like they could legitimately talk to people who would want to come in at their level or above, or want to earn $5,000 and $10,000 and $15,000 a month, because they're like, I'm earning 1 to 2 right now. So they really felt like not earning income was stopping them. So I'm like, okay, let's remove those roadblocks. Let's put three-way calls into place so that those roadblocks are taken care of, because the person leading has that confidence, can explain the business, might be earning a little bit more. But also, you guys, in that three-way call is every bit as much as the potential advocate as it is for the advocate themselves who invited that person. It is an opportunity to not only for them to hear again the business opportunity and learn, it's an opportunity to pour into them on belief as kind of like a byproduct of this call. So what I like, it's a 2-for-1 for me. I love reinforcing the business with my advocate who invited the person on that call by sharing with the potential advocate. So that's why it's really important to make sure that whoever's leading that three-way call is somebody who is like, yes, I love this business, I want to share it. So here's how the three-way call works. And if you go to my multiplication video, which I'm going to put in the chat, I think it might be on the Share Success site, I'm not sure, but in my multiplication video that I did about a month ago for the field in doTERRA, one of the calls in the description is an example of a three-way call. Now, it happened to not be, I didn't have an advocate on that call because this person reached out to me who I'd never met before. I did not know her. So I'm like, yeah, let's have a three-way call, but without a potential advocate. So you'll be able to see an example of that three-way call, okay? But essentially, here is what that three-way call looks like. The first half is just getting to know them. It's just getting to know them. It's just asking a lot of questions. So I really love just saying like, hey, how do you guys know each other? Like, what is the relationship here? Because essentially, you guys, anybody who's walking onto your team, it is more than business. We're in a relationship business, right? I mean, we had Andy and Natalie like pounding this into us this last week of like, you guys, people, when you invest in people, the business comes. And this is why we do set up our three-way calls like we do. It is all about getting to know this person, because if they're going to walk on my team, I want to know how they know the advocate. I want to know about their family. I want to know about their background, like, because it allows me to relate to them much more personally. It allows me to lead them well. So this is all about getting to know them in the first part of this. So here are some questions that I love to ask in this call. Tell me how you know so-and-so, how you guys know each other, right? I love to ask things like, what do you love to do? Like, what do you love to do in your pastime? Like, let me just get to know you. Like, share with me a little bit about whatever you want to share. Tell me about your family, right? Are you married? Do you have kids? Like, are you single? What do you do for your job? You know, just those types of things. The other thing that I like to ask is like, what is appealing to you about doTERRA? Like, you're on this call, you're thinking about it at some point. What's appealing to you about that? This is really important. You're going to start to hear things about income or impact or influence or product, or you guys, it's really important to listen in the stage, because when you go to explain the business model and the comp plan, guess what? You're speaking to everything that they've shared with you in the first 10 to 15 minutes, which is why you spend a lot of time getting to know them, because when you're talking about the business, you want it to fit like a glove for them. And the only way you can have it fit like a glove is if you spend time getting to know them. So you're asking them, what appeals to you about doTERRA? Like, what's intriguing you right now? Why are you even exploring this as a potential thing? And then I always ask, do you have a financial need? And by this time, we've developed some rapport. And some people will say, yes, I think so. You know, if we could make $1,000 a month. And some people might say, like, yes, I have a financial need, and then stop. And I do probe. And I say, if you're open, would you be open to sharing what that financial need is? Because that will honestly help me talk to you about the business in a way that's going to be more relevant to you. So I'm very honest. I'm very transparent. I'm not trying to get around or like manipulate them. And they're like, actually, yes, I need $2,500 a month. So my brain, I'm going between silver and gold, right? Between silver and gold is what they need. So I'm asking questions. I'm essentially interviewing, but I'm really trying to understand. So when now we move into, I open the build guide and I share it on Zoom. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you get paid in doTERRA, but I also want to circle back on some of the things that you've mentioned, because I want to share maybe some areas of rank that could be a very good fit for you, so that if you decide that you want to do this, we can kind of really get clear on where would you want to aim for and what would you want that to look like. So then we go into the build guide. I do a high level overview on the 4 ways you get paid. And if they're really looking at making $500 to $1,000 a month, you guys, I'm hanging out a little bit more in fast starts and power of 3. So just because I'm like, that's what they care most about. If they're more like, I want to be at 5,000 or 6,000 a month, I'm spending a little bit more time on Unilevel and the leader bonus pools. And if they're like 10,000 or more a month, like I can talk about fast starts and power of 3, but I'm really hanging out in Unilevel and those leader bonus pools. So again, all of that comes from listening at the beginning. And then I move into ranks, and we really kind of, I talk about how, you know, you guys do, everything is built on elite in doTERRA. So once you get to elite, I tell them how to get to elite. And I'm like, now when you get to silver, I bump over to silver, and then I go to platinum, and then I go to presidential. And so, but I let them know, look, notice how it's, I do, and then I teach. I do, and then I teach, right? So I do elite, and then I teach how to do elite. And then I go to platinum, and I teach other people how to teach, right? And so they get that concept. But so I kind of teach that like high level, but then again, if they're at 2,500, I'm like, okay, I want to focus in right now on silver and potentially gold, because what you shared with me is that this is probably the financial spot that you would like to be in. And so we talk about, what does it take to get to silver or gold for you to be at this income level? And so you guys, during this time, you're gonna kind of sense resistance or excitement, right? And so I'm always watching and listening for resistance and excitement. So usually at the end of the call, I would say 70 to 75% of people are like, oh my goodness, okay, I love this. And then the advocate's like, yep, we can hop on another call and talk about what this is gonna look like, or what, you know, your timing of things. And like, I don't press a lot on that, but if I'm sensing a lot of resistance, like where they're just kind of very guarded and shut down, then I am usually like, so I hope this was helpful for you today. So that as you're going on this exploration journey, whether it's today or a year from now or 2 years from now, hopefully this just gave you some information to put in. I always say, put it in your pipe and smoke it, because people like laugh at that. They're like, put it in your pipe and smoke it, and just see if you like the taste of it. And if you don't, it's no problem. And if you're like, I kind of like that pipe, then, I don't smoke, just so you guys know, and I don't drink. But people, like, it just kind of breaks the ice a little bit. My pastor always used to say that, put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm like, oh, I like that. Okay, so anyway, so it just, again, it gives people the freedom to be like, I'm not being pushed into anything today. One of my principles is I stay unattached to my outcomes, and I really do. And the reason why I can is because I know what I have, and you have the same thing that I have, which is doTERRA, okay? So it allows me to keep that freedom if there is resistance, to just be like, hey, what other questions can I answer for you today? What are you still wondering about? But you're going to be able to see here, you guys, if there's resistance or not. And yeah, and then again, of course, of having those systems in place, like this is a great place to say, like, if you haven't been to a class, maybe you want to hop in on one of our classes on Tuesday nights, or we can send you a replay. And they're like, yeah, I'd really love to see that. Or if they're like, I think I want to do this, like, yes, I'm in, then I'm like, I'm going to send you our onboarding video, or advocate. I tell our advocate, hey, advocate, this is a great time to send our onboarding video. But do you notice, like, because we have these tools in place already, it's not like, okay, we've got to create an onboarding video now. Like, it's done. All right. So I'm going to pause here for a second because we just went through exploratory. Andy, is there anything in the chat that I need to know or really answer?
Most of the questions are really like minutia, and so let's hold those to the end because it's really in the weeds.
Yep. And you guys, honestly, principles here. Principles. Your new person is not going to be made or broken based on saying the exact right thing. Okay. The principle, like the three-way call for sure, is ask good questions, because remember, you guys, I don't know if you watched Tatiana's training at leadership, but you need to be interested, not be interesting. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me. They care about themselves. And so I think when we understand that, we can step into that space and be like, I just want to know about you. And they love that. That's what they want. So that is a good business principle. I think as you want to lead and grow, like, all people care about themselves. So great leaders are going to basically be like, I'm going to let them talk about themselves and I'm going to get to know them. And hopefully as they come into this process, they're going to learn to do the exact same thing. Okay. So let's go into onboarding. Now, most of the time people are like, what's in your onboarding video? Okay. Our onboarding video that I made like 6 months ago, I probably do it every 3 to 6 months. My onboarding video doesn't onboard my people. I do, and my advocates do. The onboarding video, what it does is it introduces my team to how you build the business. It's simply an introductory educational video that is going to lay a framework and foundation for everything that they're going to be learning from me. They're going to hear it from a video first, but then I'm literally going to lead it and walk them through it. If it's my person, otherwise it's my advocate who's going to do that. But on my onboarding video, this is what it's introducing our customer retention process, which I'm going to share with you in a second, and it's introducing how do you find builders. Okay, so when somebody is ready to be like, yep, I think I might want to do this business, we send them the onboarding video, introduction, and we tell them, you don't need to memorize everything in this video. This is an introduction video. It's meant to start to create a framework and foundation for you, because what you're going to learn next is simply going to build on that foundation. So there's no expectation that you've memorized everything on that. Now, a lot of our leaders will actually watch the onboarding video with their person, and then they stop it and talk about things along the way. I'm not going to share, so I always get asked about my onboarding video. And you guys, the reason why I don't is because there's literally walkways into our team page and everything, and I cannot manage like advocates asking to get into my team page and into our, well, like, I can't do that. It's already like people have found ways into those things, so we're already trying to manage some of those things, and I can't. So I'm going to tell you what's on that video, and it's not rocket science. So the first thing that we talk about in that video is our customer retention process, and we teach this. And I'm going to share my screen. I think I can do that, Andy, right? Yeah. So we talk about systems, right? This is our duplication method right here. We have a very high customer retention rate on our team, and it is because we train and duplicate to this process right here out of the gate. It's our customer retention process. Step number one, it's connecting a person to product. And in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter how they do that. It can be through a class, it can be through a one-on-one, it can be through a social media post. It doesn't actually matter. Step one is connecting people to product. Once you have done that, we do a wellness consult. That is where we're asking questions about their health and what they want to prioritize. We do this. I think this is kind of different than what people do in doTERRA. I think in general, what we've learned is people in doTERRA do a wellness consult after they've had their first order. We tend to have a wellness consult before their first order because we want them to be matching what their needs are for their health with their first enrollment order. And so we do a wellness consult where we ask questions and just like, are you on any supplements right now? What are some things that you and your family might be dealing with? And so we have basically kind of a whole list of questions because this wellness consult, you guys, isn't simply to help them enroll for the first time. We are trying to get to know what is happening in their life and their family so that we can actually serve them for the next year or so. So I want to know if their kids have allergies. I want to know if their husband can't sleep. Like that's where the wellness consult, we take 20 to 30 minutes to really ask a lot of questions. And we always say to them, like, we're not going to answer all these questions for you today. We just want to get a feel for like what you're facing and what you are hoping for. And then we always ask them like, what are your 1 to 2 priorities today? What do you want to start with? And then we ask them about their budget and how can we honor your budget? Because we don't want you to be doing things for 2 months and then stopping because it's not affordable for you, because now we actually haven't served you well. We want to make sure that we are helping you in your budget to do the things that you want to do. So that's the wellness consult. And look how we're building trust and retention already because of the time we've taken. And we let them know on this call. We let them know, we help enroll them right away. Even if we're on Zoom, we don't send cards. We try really hard not to send cards, because if you send a card, you're sending a card out into space and you are never going to get that person back again. It's really hard. Even if you're like, oh no, they totally will. They're totally going to order. No, they won't. No, they won't. And then now you got to nag. Nobody wants to nag. That's annoying. That's annoying for you and it's annoying for them. So just ask them if you could do them a favor and help them check out today so that they can get started on their health journey. Okay. And then you're going to let them know when your products arrive. We're going to go over what you bought, why you bought it, and how to use it, because we want you feeling really comfortable and confident about what you bought and why you bought it and how to use it. And they're like, oh, perfect. So I do find, like, a lot of people will say to me, I can't get people on the open the box. And I always say, did you talk about the open the box earlier in the process? Most people are like, no. So I'm like, yeah, you're not going to get people on the call if you have not talked about it. But if you've established expectation earlier on in the process, then they're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do because I've been told this. So once you get on the open the box, you're sharing what you bought, why you bought it, how to do it. And then we also go over the rewards program in detail on this call. And the reason why we do it now is because we find is if we've done it earlier, even though you can mark the checkbox, you guys, of like subscribe monthly, go ahead and do that. But most people, to actually go into the weeds of the rewards program, do not have the mental capacity before this. I find that once they get their product where they know what they're focusing on now, they've got clarity on what they're working on with their health. Like, it's not like out here, we're into here. And so now we can talk about rewards program and how that will serve them as they're going through this health journey. Now it's like, oh, this is like extra and beneficial. And like, I was already planning to do these things, but now I know that like I can get all these rewards for that. So you guys, we do not sell based on our rewards program. We sell based on our lifestyle and the things that we want to address with them. The rewards program is like extra. And when they find out what the rewards program can do, they're even more excited about what's possible and why they're doing their journey. Okay. So now again, this is what I'm teaching in the video. What I'm teaching you right now is what I teach in the video. And then I always tell them, like, okay, in a week, especially if they're on supplements, you're going to check in with them, use a voice message, use a phone call, and just say, hey, I'm checking in. How is your body responding? Do we need to tweak anything? Do we need to up your water? Do we need to, pull back on anything? But you're doing a check-in. If you do this process and you teach your team to do this process, they will have more love and care than they've ever had from most doctors. Most doctors, when you walk in, they're sitting on a computer and they're staring at their computer and they're asking questions. They're not making eye contact. They give you a prescription at the end and they say, come back in 6 months, if that, and we'll do your blood work again. They're never going to get what you can provide through this process right here. Now, what we also train in this onboarding video is you need to slow down to speed up. Most people are like, I just want to get through this process so I can build to something big. I'm like, no. This is your process to building to something big. So learn this process. So this is what we teach in the onboarding video. And again, when we actually go into launching, we model all of this for them. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. But then the other thing we teach in the onboarding video is how to find builders. What are you looking for? And so we talked to them about like what you're looking for is going to be things like, let me get my notes. Look for people who have a need of some kind. Does somebody have a financial need or an impact need? Does somebody have a health need, right? Those are potential great builders. The other thing that you want to look for is influence. Does this person have some level of influence in their family, in their church, at their school, in their community, online? Like it doesn't just have to be an influencer online, you guys, right? So like, does this person have influence? So we're teaching them in the onboarding video to start thinking about builders, right? So we're saying customers are important, builders are important. We're not just saying customers are important, you guys. We're saying both are. Out of the gate, we're teaching people a whole business. This is how you grow a whole business. You've got customers, you've got builders. So, and we're teaching it, it's normal. And then the last thing that we mention in our onboarding video is what are the resources that you have available for you? The first thing we say is your leader. Your leader is available for you. And then we share like what systems we have on our team that are available to you, right? So you don't have to do this in your, you can just say like, what do I, you know, you might say, you have me, like I am ready to go with you. I'm going to go into this with you and you're hyping up that you as the support. You might say, we've got a couple apps. Like you might talk about the Goddard's AI tool. Like you can text this AI tool and you know, this is amazing support if you're trying to figure out products. Like look at the resources that are around you that doTERRA offers and then share some of those things to let them know, like, this is all you have sitting here waiting for you. That's going to be really amazing to help lift you. Okay. So that's what's in the video. It's not like how you're going to plan your launch party. It's not. Okay. It's strictly introductory. And really all that is, because I want them to hear all of that for the first time, automated, because when we actually go into execution for launches, they're now going to see all of this playing out. Okay. So we're in onboarding. We're in phase 2. We just kind of did step 1 on phase 2 onboarding video. And again, I think the principle for you guys to take away is I need to onboard to customers and builders. I can't take one away. And then I also want to just let people know what resources they have available to them. And again, those could be things you provide or things that doTERRA provides. Maybe it's like, hey, you've got to see the doTERRA Science YouTube page, right? Like show them those things. You don't have to create those resources if you don't want to. They're already available for you. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit earlier, like the video does not do my onboarding work for me. I do the onboarding work because this is a relational business. So I think that is one pitfall that a lot of people can fall into is in an effort to want to go fast and onboard a lot of people, they make videos and automation their process. And I did that. I did that for a lot of years and I got ghosted and I got people who wouldn't want to interact with me anymore because I'm like, oh, I'm going to like, let's launch you. And it's like, I've got all this vision for you. You just don't have it yet. And we're just going to have you build on my vision for you because I know you can do this. And they're just like, So I'm like, no, nobody replaces you in the process for onboarding. So this is where we slow down to speed up. And you are super important in this process. So after they do the onboarding video, they might do that with their leader. We have the leader get on the call with them and we do our first call for planning their launch. Now, most people on this call would get on and be like, okay, here we're going to talk about the presentation. We're going to talk about the products. We're going to talk about our giveaways and our samples. No, you're not talking about that on your first call, you guys, because here's the deal. If you don't get people there, you can have the best presentation in the world. But if you don't have any people there, you're talking to yourself. So call number 1 in the onboarding process is all about 2 things: choosing launch dates and teaching them how to build and filter a list. Okay, so you're picking out dates. Now, how do you pick out dates? And do you do in person? And do you do Zoom? And do you always do in person? Do you always do Zoom? Okay, it really depends on what was said in the exploratory stage. So if I have somebody who's like, I've got, you know, I ask questions like, how many hours a week do you have to commit to this? Like I ask all that in exploratory, right? So they're like, I have 3 jobs. I've got kids in sports. I maybe have 5 hours to work on this. I'm not going to tell them that they need 5 launch classes in a week to launch. That would be craziness, right? That's not aligned at all. So I might say, hey, let's do maybe 3 launch classes over the course of a month. And so let's spread things out so that it's very doable for you. Or if I have somebody who's like, I need to make, you know, $3,000 as fast as possible, then we're like, okay, how much time do you have to give this? I have 15 to 20 hours a week. Okay, So we're going to launch you. We're going to do 3 to 4 classes in a week. We're going to get you into momentum as fast as possible because of where you need to go, you know, and what you need this to do for you as quickly as possible. So we do some in person. For me to fly to somebody, it needs to be pretty high potential. But I mean, I say high potential, if I see them at gold or above and they're like personal to me or within my first or second level, then I'll fly to them. I won't fly to any, like my leaders also will own this process. So like, if it's something that, like, I'm not going out and doing all these things, you guys. My builders are doing these things. They own the process. I do have a new builder right now who started in November, and I went and launched her. She had another builder with her right away, so we launched them. And now she's got another frontline builder who's pretty high capacity or high builder. And so I would probably go with my frontline builder to launch her because I want my frontline. So they just nuance that, like, right? But you can touch, like, there's no right or wrong answer in that. Really, you're listening for how many hours a week can they work? Do they have multiple jobs? Are they busy or are they available? And then you build your launch plan around their availability because, again, we want alignment. If I'm trying to take them down a launch process where they've communicated something completely separate, like maybe it's like they have 20 to 30 hours a week to work and they need to be at 3,000 to 5,000 as fast as possible. And I'm like, well, I'm not really available. I've got like 5 hours I can give you. So let's maybe do one class for you a week for 5 weeks. And they're like chomping at the bit to go. There's misalignment there, or vice versa, right? So really hearing well what they're saying and then building a launch plan to what they're saying. So on that first call, we're picking launch dates. We're saying, what about Zoom? What about in person? All Zoom? Like, what is your influence look like around you at home? You know, so we use Zoom, we use in person. It doesn't really matter, honestly, but we want to get them equipped and learning as fast as possible and we want launch dates on the calendar. For the launcher, the person that's launching here in April, I've got a frontline builder launching next week. We have 4 launch classes and then an opportunity event right after, and those are all going to be in person. And then we have some dates the following weekend for anybody who can't be at those days. Now that's a high caliber person. That's somebody who's going to be working 20 to 30 hours a week. They want to be making $10,000 or more a month. And then we have some Zooms like sprinkled in there as well, because we do that because for anybody who can't make that first phase of launches, we're like, what can we funnel them into? So because I'm like, okay, let's say they can't make in person ever, or they're like, I'm close, but I don't know any of my people, honestly, Holly, like none of my people are close. Like, it's like, okay, well, why don't you hop in on Zoom next week? So just have things on the calendar that you can filter them into. And if nobody shows up to those things, it's not a big deal. Like, have things on the calendar. So call number 1, picking dates for launches. Also, you're teaching them how to create a list. I don't care how many people have been in this industry for how many years, 10 years. I work with a lot of people who've been in the industry for 3 years or 4 years or 10 years or 12 years, and they want to skip the list. And your list is like all of your potential like customers and all of your potential builders. You don't want to skip this part. And this list is not only designed to help you with your launch, this list is designed to help you for the next 6 to 12 months in your business, because you're not going to get through everybody in your launch. You're not going to invite everybody to your launch from this list. So the list is really designed to serve your business for the next 6 to 12 months. So I tell them, you need to take 3 to 4 days and build a list. And here I'm going to give you some criteria so that you can start thinking about all the people that you know. So I use the term Frankie. A lot of you know Frankie, right? Friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids, like who are your kids' friends, parents. I is going to stand for internet or like social media. Who do you know, right? And we are not putting everybody on your social media contacts onto that list. You're really asking, like, and I tell them that, please don't be spammy. Like, this is an opportunity for you to really think about who would be interested in this product or this business. And so I help them think through Frankie, friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids, you know, and internet. And then I say, and then once you've done all that, and you're like, I feel like I've thought of everybody, then I want you to start combining those letters. So who are your friends, relatives? Who are your neighbors, friends? Who, if you go to your neighbor's social media contacts and you go through them, like, who do you know there? Like, just continue to unlock these layers of network. And then I also, again, from Heidi, taught this at Experience doTERRA, like, she's like, go to your LinkedIn. Are they in LinkedIn? Are they on like some of Indeed? You know, like some of these other social media sites for like jobs. Go there. Who are your contacts there, right? You pick up your phone and you start scrolling through who are all the people on here that I know. Don't add everybody to your list. Just look at who is somebody who I think could benefit from this product, right? So this is what I'm teaching them on the call. It's all about building an amazing list, picking our launch party date or launch class dates. And then the last thing I'm going to tell them to do is you need to filter your list now. So what I want you to do is over the next couple of days, I want you to go through after you've created your list, filter. And I want you to filter it by who do you see on here who could be a potential builder for you. It could be part-time, it could be a sharer, it could be big time, but I want you to filter your list. I'm assuming everybody on that list you'd want to introduce products to, right? But we want to make sure you filtered for advocates. Now you guys listen in this process. We're teaching them from the very beginning to be looking for advocates, looking for builders. We're not waiting until they have an amazing experience with the product and then maybe they can start talking about the product. No, we're teaching them the whole business from the very beginning. And then the last thing I tell them to do is for fun, I want you to create your top 10 dream builders list. And that's going to be off to the side. And you're going to put that on a separate piece of paper and you're going to put that on your laptop in your office or wherever that is. And that's going to sit and that's going to stare at you. And those top 10 dream builders are the people who you'd put on your front line. They're going to work at your level or above and you can dream. Don't worry about why they wouldn't do it. Only worry about why they would be your dream builder. So don't start objecting in your head about, oh, they've got another job or I don't think that they would want to. No. Who would you love to partner with? So I have them do this on call number 1 as well. So I'm giving, these are the instructions that I'm giving, and then we break for 3 to 4 days. And we give them time because I'm like, I want you to sit in invite mode. I want you to sit and think about who you know. I want you to think about your top 10 dream builder list. Because remember, we're slowing down, you guys, to speed up. And all of these things are teaching them foundation right now. So 4 to 5 days later, I'm like, hey, how's your list coming along? And they're like, it's great. I got 100. Got 125, awesome. Let's get on a call. I'm now going to teach you how to invite. You guys, inviting is super critical. It is the skill I think that can make or break this business. I have an inviting training that I will send to you. I will put it in the chat. I will give it to Andy. It's actually on my multiplication video, I believe, in the comments. So I will make sure you guys have all of those videos. But inviting, I have a 10-minute invite video. It's a 2-step invite process. You need to learn how to invite without being spammy. Most people coming into the industry or who have never learned how to invite well are going to come across as spammy and salesy. And everybody, if you say, what's your biggest fear of coming into direct sales? It's, I don't want to be salesy and I don't want to be spammy. But when you don't learn the skill, you come across like that. So that's why we teach the skill of inviting right away. And the skill of inviting is not just to invite to launches. It's to learn how to invite to having a 3-way call. It's to learn, to learn more. It's to invite to anything, any customer appreciation event you do. So this skill is really important. So call number 2 is teaching them how to invite. It is worth taking 1 call to do that because the skill set is so important. So we teach that. And while I do have a video to train on how to do that, I don't let the video do my heavy lifting. I want to look face to face at them and teach them how to invite. And then I use the invite video as a reinforcement if they need a review. So then they can grab my video and review, but I am doing the personal work with them to teach them how to invite. Okay. And then the last thing we do on call number 2, we taught them how to invite. And now I tell them, now you're going to go back to your list and you are going to prioritize inviting anybody who has an A for advocate next to your list. Those are the top priority of people you are going to be inviting to your launches. And why do we do that? We do that because I want my new builders to have new builders out of the gate. I want them inviting people along for the ride. I want people coming to their launches who they want to have building with them. Now, do all of those show up as builders? No, of course not. Only a fraction of them do. But I want to prioritize those people because if that new advocate can get 1 to 2 potential builders right out of the gate, it sends them into even more momentum. So our priority in inviting for launches is going to be advocates who are on that list, potential advocates. Okay. And then we do a 3rd call, which is now we can talk about product. Now we can talk about your presentation. What's that going to look like? But I honestly don't think that even matters nearly as much as teaching them how to create a list, teaching them how to filter a list, teaching them how to dream about builders, and teaching them how to invite. That is our duplication process. Like no matter what we're teaching, we always teach every advocate those skill sets because of how they serve them into the future. And now they duplicate whatever they've learned. So now they teach their people, oh, we've got to build a list. We've got to filter your list. We've got to think about dream advocates. We've got to teach you how to invite. We've got to invite only advocates, so it duplicates. And then of course, like I said, we talk about presentation and then we go into launch mode. We go into do their classes. And of course, you guys have probably done a million classes. but and you can do a class. We do foundational wellness classes. We talk a little bit about oils at the end. But what I wanted to share with you today is potentially the things that you might not be thinking about or you might not be doing. And those are the things, I mean, these are the things that we're like are non-negotiables on our team. And it's like, wow, that seems like a lot, Lindsay. I'm like, yeah, but you know, when they get to the end of that 30 to 60 days of launching, you know how equipped they feel? They've learned so many good skill sets, and we've taken time to teach skill sets, because when you don't teach skill sets, you guys, and you get 3 months in and 5 months in, they're discouraged because nobody's showing up to their class because they really don't know how to invite. And you're like, oh my gosh, they should know how to do this already, because we took shortcuts at the beginning. We're not going to take shortcuts at the beginning. We're going to spend a lot of time with our potential advocates at the beginning so that they have these skills, and we can keep building on these skills and reinforcing these skills. But we really need to teach these skills well, because what we're doing is actually setting them up to thrive after 60 days. So I don't have a ton of work on that whole onboarding stuff after the 60 days because I've done a really good job with my people. So I'll stop there. Those are, like I said, those two phases, there's a lot in there. I probably should have broken them up for you guys, but hopefully it was a little helpful. And I know it went pretty long.
That was so good. And I can tell from the comments that people are just eating this up. So thank you so much. Do you mind if we hit a couple of the questions that have come through?
Sure. And before we're done today, Andy, I do want to make sure I get in the chat the videos that I talked about. I do have them all pulled up so that I can just put them in the chat for people, and then I'll make sure that you get them as well.
Perfect.
The systems video is really important, you guys. It's from 2023, but we basically use the exact same systems that we did a year and a half ago. And then my multiplication video that I did a month ago, check the description box. It has all these samples of our class. You're like, well, what do you say in your class? What is your class survey? What's your three-way call? It's literally, I have samples of all of them in there. So
awesome. So good. Okay, we've got a question from Joan. She says, do you ever tend to encourage people to start getting their feet wet with the refer a friend so they don't overwhelm tentative folks?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, when they're an exploratory, you're really a good listener. You're a good, and you're listening and watching. And so it's like, for people who are like, I don't really want to, I don't need to really make any money. I don't really want to, like, you see a lot of resistance. Refer a friend is great. I'd be like, you know what? Because sometimes you guys, we actually find that being a wholesale customer is the best fit for them. We've had that several times recently, because I'm like, no, we've gone through exploration and based on what they're telling us, we're like, no, wholesale customer using a refer a friend is actually the best fit for you. And we build a ton of credibility on that, you guys, because we're not trying to get them to do something that really is not a fit for them. So I love that question. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Paula says, when do you have your Learn More class? Have you found a day or time that works best?
Whenever we're available. I get asked the question a lot, like, when's the best night to have classes? When the best? No, have it whenever you're available. So I do it with there's 5 or 6 of us that really have high belief. We do the Learn More, and we've done the same Learn More for the last 2 years, honestly. We don't have a presentation. We simply have topics, and the agenda is in the multiplication video, so you can see it. And so we do Monday nights most of the time, because that's when most of us can mostly make it. I can't always make it on Monday nights, but we record it. The key is, you guys, we record everything so that business never stops. So if you're like, oh, I can't make it, or so-and-so, can't make a Monday night, well, then use the replay. So that's why we always record everything, so that we can always share replays, so business can always keep going.
Awesome. So good. Okay, one more. For the calls you're doing right now, are you explaining the new comp plan or the current comp plan? Or older?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm sticking to the old, but I'm letting them know with Power of 3 specifically. Like, I don't go too far into the weeds on any of them, because honestly, I find most people aren't going to understand it. But for Power of 3 specifically, I do let them know, hey, this is changing a little bit, but for the better. So that as you're building, you actually, and I say, you see here 50 and 250 and 1500, you're actually going to have the opportunity to get to 100 and 500. So I'm like, doTERRA is really looking at how do we get more income at the beginning. So I'm sharing the principle mainly on the Power of 3, not sharing exactly how it works and you need pods of 500. No. I'm like, hey, you're seeing numbers here in the build guide, but we want you to know, starting in the summer, these are actually going to have the opportunity to double some of these when you're earning. And that's what I focus in on. Awesome.
Okay. What's your process for inviting for launch? I assume that's in your video. And by the way, I'm putting the recording of this call on our YouTube channel. Facebook just changed their policy where Facebook Lives, which is how this gets recorded to Facebook, they're not staying on Facebook. And
Yes.
so we've been posting these in YouTube, but I've put the link to our YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/share success. No space, no dash. I recommend that everybody subscribe to that because since Facebook is deleting lives, that's going to be our only place to store the recordings. So, okay, Paula says, do you have a weekly team call?
Great question. So yeah, so that's in my systems training as well. We have done a weekly team call from the very beginning. Now so it started out as an all team call until we got to about diamond. And then what we were finding is my individual leaders were having very specific needs for their teams. And so what we were finding is as a team, we were outgrowing the all team call. And so my leaders do a weekly call with their people because they all each kind of have their unique teams. And then once a month, we do an all team call. So I'm not personally doing weekly calls anymore. I'm doing a once a month all team call and a once a month all leader call. But my leaders are at the point right now where I have platinums and diamonds in my front line, you guys. So they're really at a good place to be doing some of those things. But we also have a lot of momentum and energy around the whole team and value that we can offer our all team. So we want to make sure once a month we're doing an all team. And so that's the way we structure it right now. And I will get the systems training up for you on that so that you can see that.
Fantastic. And then I think one last question. What kind of platform do you use for team communication? Is it Facebook, WhatsApp? Where do you guys talk?
Yes. This is such a relative question. I really don't think it matters where you guys talk. We just kind of, when we were at the beginning, we're like, what is serving us best? So we have one Facebook group that is for our advocates and our business. And then we have one Facebook group that is for all of our customers and all of our advocates. And so we do products and testimonials and product questions and protocols and everything in our wellness community. And we keep all the business stuff in our Facebook group. And then I have a couple individual messenger groups. Like I have one with my frontline partners. I have one with our Premier and Up leaders. And then I let my partners, like my leaders, you guys, when you get to a point, like you don't need to be everything to everyone. Like I let my leaders, like they facilitate their own team communication. So some of them might do it on WhatsApp or it doesn't matter what avenue you're using. What matters is that you're connecting. And so just make sure that you're connecting and you're doing it in a way where people feel, I mean, there's always too much information. I try to weed out noise, and so it's always a balance of like too much, not enough, what's the right place. We tend to use Facebook right now.
Fantastic.
So,
well, I think that's hit every one of the questions I saw. If
Andy, let me get the links. Let me just put these in the chat so that for people who are on here, they can get them.
Perfect. And for everyone who's some people said they couldn't copy the links that we're posting, so don't worry. I'm going to take from this. I'm going to post it on the YouTube channel. So every relevant link is going to be in the description of the YouTube video. So yeah, just so much gratitude.
It's a lot, you guys, like it's a lot. But I know people, whenever I don't give enough, people are like, they ask me more questions and more questions. So I'm like, I want to give you a lot, but I also don't want to shut you down. And I would say, honestly, the biggest takeaway that I would encourage you to do is look at your systems first. And just because your systems are your scaffolding. It basically, like when you have systems in place, it's worth spending time getting your systems in place on your team first, because now what it does, it frees you up to be like, I can invite and I can talk to people, and my advocates can do that too, because we have these things in place. When you don't have those things in place, it's this constant resistance, it's constant roadblocks, we don't know what to do, it's constant confusion, it's constant chaos. Systems bring clarity, and clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. It is worth taking time to create systems.
A to the man. So Lindsay, you are brilliant, and we are so, so grateful. And when Lindsay started growing and building and exploding her team, we were already doing Experience doTERRA. We're like, oh shoot, how are we going to merge what she's doing with what we're doing? And it turns out that everything she teaches is in the business building guide.
Yeah.
And so she brings her unique personality, her energy, her excitement, her vision. But guys, this is not like we have not created doTERRA 2.0.
No,
It's
no.
she's doing
I,
the same stuff that we do
yes.
and adding her brilliance and her clarity. I just love the way you pull it all together. So
I
it's
remember for the first year and a half, you guys, I was like, people keep saying pipes, pipes. I'm like, I cannot tell you what pipes is. Like, what is pipes? Like, and Andy and Natalie and Amy are like, don't worry about it. You're doing pipes. I'm like, I
you're
can't
already
tell you
doing it.
pipes. I don't know what that is. I'm like, they're like, do you use the business build guide? I'm like, no. But I think that what we do is in the build guide. Like, so anyway, yes, I've told
100%.
Andy many times, like if I'm outside of what we should be doing, and he's like, no, you are actually right aligned. You are right
Yep.
aligned. So it's basically just taking all those things, and I'm telling you how Lindsay Norman and her team does it. But the principles are in the business build guide. So if you start
Yep.
there and even say, okay, based on these principles, how do I want to make it like Barbara's flair and Maria and Ruth and Linda? Like, how do we want to make our flair? So we're putting these principles in place. Like, do it. Absolutely do it.
Exactly. Well, Lindsay, we cannot say thank you enough. I can tell from the chat that everyone is just so, so, so grateful. You have, oh, you started with vision and you continue to expand all of our visions, and it's such a gift. So
So
thank you so,
good.
so much. And I believe there's a part two,
Yeah.
which is that in 2 weeks?
Yes. So in 2 weeks, you guys will talk about phase 3. And we maybe should have done this in 3-way calls or 3 calls, sorry. But in 2 weeks, we're gonna talk about phase 3, which is like, what if I'm through the launch? I'm through all of that stuff. Like, what does it look like on the weekly and the monthly to be in growth mode? Like, what should I be doing? How should I be spending my time? And we're gonna explore some of those things together. Again, nothing is black and white. Like, grab principles because strategies change. This is really important. Grab principles and hold on to principles. Principles hold. Strategies change. And I think a lot of times people are like, what's your strategy? If I can just do your strategy, I'm going to have everything, like all these results. But our strategies change all the time based on who are we working with and what's going on in the economy. And so strategies are always changing, but principles don't. So grab your principles, hold true to those, and then let's build some strategies around your principles.
A to the men. Thank you so, so much. So part two is going to be on Wednesday, the 9th, April 9th. And what was I going to say? Most of the time I listen to, podcasts and other things on like 1.5x. I think with Lindsay, you're going to want to watch this on like half speed or
Yeah, I
0.5.
know.
We've packed a lot in, but it's all just so, so good. So again,
Andy, I will plant a seed here just so you guys know. My frontline partners and I are actually looking at doing a pre-convention 4-hour training where we like do role playing and we actually show you, like, we go through each of the 3 phases. We
wow.
get you guys all the resources. We role play 3-way calls, like where we can literally show you all of that, because we've been asked so much, like, how are you guys doing this? And we want to see this. And so we're looking at, do we just do a 4 to 5 hour pre-convention thing that we literally walk you guys through that. So
Love
we're
it.
toying with it. If you feel like that could be valuable, let me know. But that's we're tinkering with the idea right now.
Awesome. Well, I can tell from the chat that that would be very well received.
Okay.
So many people hungry for that. So thank you so,
Amazing.
so much, friend. So, so grateful for everything
Of
that you're
course.
doing and your gracious and generous offering of your time.
Awesome. I want to see doTERRA growing, which means I want all of you growing. So we're in it. We're all in it together. I love it.
Awesome. Let's grow together.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
Hey, thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week.